Deep inside the endless dark of space, the royal flagship of the Zareth Empire moved like a silent mountain through the stars. It was the most feared ship in the galaxy, built from black metal and glowing blue veins of alien energy. Every soldier walked with discipline, every officer spoke with respect, and every corridor echoed with power. But on this night, the mighty ship held a secret fear. The twin daughters of the alien Empress could not sleep. Not for one night, not for 10 nights, but for 20 nights in a row. The royal healers were confused, the scientists were shocked, and the Empress herself was losing patience. In the royal chamber, 2 small alien girls huddled together on their floating crystal bed. They were only 6 years old, with soft glowing hair and violet skin like their mother. Their eyes were large and bright, but now full of fear. Every time they tried to close their eyes, their little bodies shook. Every dream turned into a nightmare. Every shadow became a monster. The Empress stood tall near them, wearing her long black royal armor that shined like glass. Her face was calm, but inside she was breaking. The strongest leader in the galaxy could not help her own children, and that pain was worse than any war. An elderly alien healer bowed before her, his voice shaking. "Your Majesty, we have tried every medicine, every mind-calming wave, every dream shield. Nothing works." The Empress glared at him, her voice cold. "Then why do my daughters still scream at night?" The healer trembled. "We?" "Do not know, Your Majesty." The lights in the chamber flickered at that moment. The princesses gasped and grabbed each other. A soft whisper ran across the ceiling, like someone gently dragging fingers on metal. Everyone froze. Even the guards felt a chill in their bones. The Empress felt anger rise in her chest. This ship had survived attacks from enemy fleets. It had crushed rebellions, destroyed planets, and defeated monsters from distant worlds. But now, shadows moved inside her own home, inside her daughter's room. Something unseen was haunting them. The Empress called her chief advisor, a tall alien with silver armor and long white markings on his face. He bowed deeply. "What is your command, my Empress?" Her voice was low and sharp. "Find a solution." "I will not watch my children suffer." The advisor spoke carefully. "There is one more option, Your Majesty. But it may sound foolish." She narrowed her eyes. "Speak." The advisor hesitated. "We have tried every alien method, every Zareth way, every known science. But there is a human on board." The Empress raised an eyebrow. "A human? For what possible reason?" "He works as a janitor in the maintenance decks. His name is Daniel. He is a single father. He used to calm his own child with something called bedtime stories. It is a human technique." The Empress stared at him, unable to believe what she was hearing. "You want me to bring a simple human janitor into the royal chamber? To help the princesses sleep?" The advisor looked down. "It is the only thing we have not tried, Your Majesty." The Empress wanted to refuse immediately. It sounded ridiculous, impossible, insulting even. But then she heard a soft cry behind her. The twins were shaking again, holding each other terrified. Her daughters mattered more than her pride. "Bring the human," she ordered. And the guards left at once, far below the shiny royal halls. The maintenance deck was dark and quiet. Daniel, the human janitor, wiped the floor with a tired sigh. He missed Earth. He missed his daughter back home. He worked here only because he needed money to send to her. He was just a simple man in a giant alien world. Suddenly, the doors opened. 3 armed alien guards stepped inside. Daniel froze. Did I clean something wrong?" he asked nervously. The guard commander spoke with a deep voice. "No, you are summoned by the Empress." Daniel's eyes widened. "Me? But why?" "You will follow," the guard said. Offering no explanation, Daniel swallowed hard. He knew refusing was not an option. He followed them through glowing corridors, across high-tech halls, and up to the grand royal floor. He felt tiny next to all the advanced alien architecture. When the doors to the royal chamber opened, he almost forgot how to breathe. The Empress stood tall, her presence overwhelming. The twins peeked from behind her armor, trembling. Daniel's heart softened immediately. They looked scared like a child missing home, like his daughter. When she used to cry at night, the Empress approached Daniel slowly, her eyes cold and sharp, her voice powerful. "You are here because my daughters cannot sleep." "You will try your human method," Daniel blinked. "You want me to tell them a bedtime story?" "Yes," she said, "and hear my warning. If you fail, you will not leave this room alive." The room fell silent. The princesses stared at him with big, scared eyes. Daniel took a slow breath. He stepped closer, kneeling to their level. He whispered gently, "Hey, it's okay. I'm here to help." And for the first time in many nights, the twins stopped shaking. The shadows in the room softened, and in the air, the nightmares seemed to pause, as if something powerful had just been challenged. By a simple human dad, Daniel stayed on his knees, looking at the two alien princesses with gentle eyes. The chamber was huge and silent, filled with high golden pillars and glowing blue crystals. Many alien guards watched from the walls. Their weapons ready, the Empress stood tall behind Daniel, waiting for any sign of failure. But Daniel focused only on the children. The twins slowly stepped out from behind their mother. They were small, glowing slightly, their hair floating like soft mist. They looked scared, but also curious. Daniel gave them a small smile. "My name is Daniel," he said softly. "I'm here to help you sleep." The princess on the left moved closer first. She had bright silver eyes, full of fear and hope. The other princess followed, holding her sister's hand tightly. Daniel spoke in a calm voice he used to use with his own daughter back home. "Nightmares can't hurt you when someone brave is here." He tapped his chest. "And I am brave enough." The twins stared at him as if he was something completely new. No alien soldier spoke this softly. No royal healer talked like a father. This human seemed different, warm, safe. The Empress watched with surprise. She had seen generals bow to her. She had seen entire planets kneel before her power. But she had never seen her daughters step toward someone on their own. She kept her voice cold, but her eyes softened. "Continue," she ordered. Daniel looked around the room. There were no books, no soft toys, nothing that a child would use to sleep. Everything was metal, sharp, clean. "Made for war and control," he whispered. "Do you have a storybook? Or something with pictures?" The Empress raised an eyebrow. "A storybook?" Daniel nodded. "Yes. Humans tell stories to help children sleep." An advisor quickly sent a guard running for one, but Daniel shook his head gently. "Actually, I can begin without it." He sat cross-legged on the crystal floor. The princesses looked confused, then curious. They slowly sat down in front of him. He started talking softly. "When my daughter was small," he said, "she used to have bad dreams too." The twins leaned in. "What dreams?" One of them asked in a trembling voice. Daniel smiled. "She dreamed about monsters in the dark, just like you." The lights flickered again. A cold wind passed through the room, though no door was open. Guards tightened their grip on their weapons. The Empress stepped closer. "Something is moving," she whispered. And she was right. A shadow slid across the far wall. Long, thin, and alive, the twins gasped and reached for Daniel. He gently placed his hands on their shoulders. "Don't look at the shadow," he said calmly. "Look at me." For some reason, the shadow stopped moving when he spoke. It pulsed like a heartbeat, then faded a little. The Empress felt chills run through her spine. No alien weapon had that effect, but a simple human voice did. Daniel took a deep breath. He continued his story, keeping his voice warm and steady. One night, I told my daughter something important. He looked into the twins' frightened eyes. I told her that monsters are only strong when we are alone, but when someone stays with us, monsters lose their power. The twins stared at him. Their breathing slowed. Their fear softened a little. Suddenly, a servant arrived with a small object, an alien story tablet. Glowing with images, Daniel thanked him with a nod and opened it. But the pictures were strange, too dark, too sharp. They looked more like nightmares than stories. Daniel closed it quickly. No, this won't help, he whispered. Instead, he pointed to the ground and drew a little shape with his finger. This is a human child, he said. And she is not afraid because she is not alone. The princesses watched him draw more simple shapes. A moon, a little house, a tree, a smiling child. Each line made the twins calmer, because the shapes were simple and warm. Nothing like the complex alien symbols they knew, for the first time in many nights. The princesses yawned. Daniel smiled softly. That's good, he whispered. It means your hearts are relaxing. But the moment they blinked sleepily, the chamber temperature dropped suddenly. A cold fog rose from the floor. The guard shouted warnings. Energy spike. Unknown source. The Empress stepped forward. Her voice thundered. Protect the princesses. But the fog moved around Daniel and the twins. Not attacking, not harming, just watching. Daniel felt the hair on his arms rise. He could sense something in the fog. A presence. A fear-feeding creature. A nightmare given shape. The twins clung to him again. Make it go away, they whispered. We don't want the dark thing. Daniel took a deep breath. He pulled them closer with gentle human strength. It cannot hurt you, he said, because I am here. The shadow paused. It quivered, as if confused by his confidence. Alien sensors blared with alarms. The scientists shouted from the back, Your Majesty! The creature is psychic. It reacts to emotional energy. It feeds on fear. The Empress looked at Daniel, a simple human janitor, holding her royal daughters, calming a creature her entire empire could not understand. She whispered, Impossible. But Daniel did not look at her. He looked only at the twins. You are safe, he repeated softly. No one will touch you. And for the first time, the psychic shadow retreated. The fog thinned. The chamber lights stabilized. The twins relaxed in Daniel's arms, their eyes finally growing heavy, their breathing light and peaceful. The Empress stood frozen. Her daughters were calming. The nightmare creature was weakening, and the only reason was a human father's voice, a voice that carried love, a strength alien technology could never create. The Empress whispered, Human. What are you? Daniel did not hear her. He was too busy protecting her daughters. And the twins were slowly closing their eyes, feeling safe for the first time in weeks. The royal chamber grew quiet, but it was not a peaceful quiet. It was the kind of silence that feels heavy, like the air itself is waiting for something to go wrong. Daniel kept his arms around the alien princess twins, their small bodies shaking less now. They were tired, scared, and confused. Yet for the first time, in many nights they felt safe with someone. Someone who was not a soldier, not a healer, not an alien warrior, but a simple human father. The Empress stood nearby, her eyes sharp and watchful. She wanted answers, real answers. She wanted to know why this human man could calm her daughters when her entire empire could not. But before she could speak, the chamber lights flickered once again. A low humming sound began to rise from the walls. It was deep, cold, and unnatural, like something breathing inside the metal. Alien guards stepped forward, weapons glowing, energy spike increasing. One guard warned, Unknown presence detected, another added. But the Empress already knew what it was. The nightmare creature. The same unseen thing that haunted her daughter's dreams. A thin shadow stretched across the ceiling, long like smoke, and yet moving like it was alive. The twins whimpered and hid their faces in Daniel's chest. He held them close, his hand gently patting their backs. "It's okay," he whispered. "You're not alone." The shadow pulsed with a dark energy. Alien sensors began to beep faster. Scientists in silver robes rushed into the chamber holding glowing devices. "Your Majesty." One shouted, "The psychic readings are stronger than ever. This creature, it is feeding on the princess's fear." The Empress's jaw tightened. "Then destroy it," she commanded, but the scientists shook their heads. "We have already tried lasers, sonic waves, dream blockers. But it is not physical. It lives inside the mind." The Empress clenched her fists. "Then how do we fight something without a body?" Her voice echoed across the chamber like thunder. Daniel swallowed hard. He did not understand alien science. He did not understand psychic energy. But he understood one thing very well, fear. His daughter back on Earth used to cry the same way the princesses cried now. She used to fight nightmares that felt too big for her small heart. And Daniel used to sit next to her bed, hold her hand, and promise that nothing would hurt her. Maybe the same thing could work here. Even in a giant alien ship in the middle of deep space, Daniel gently lifted the twins' chins so they could meet his eyes. "Listen to me," he said softly. "There is a monster in the dark." The twins shivered. "But monsters only win when they make you scared," he continued. "If you don't fear them, they lose," the older twin whispered. But we are scared." Daniel nodded. "I know, but that's why I'm here." A sudden ripple ran through the shadow on the ceiling. Like it was reacting to his words, the scientists gasped. "The creature's energy is fluctuating." One yelled, "It is responding to the human's emotional tone." The Empress's eyes widened. She looked at Daniel, a fragile, soft-spoken human. Yet he was affecting a creature her entire empire could not control. The shadow dropped lower, swirling like a dark cloud. It moved toward the twins. The guards fired their weapons. But the blasts passed straight through the shadow, hitting the far wall. Nothing worked. The creature was not made of matter. It was made of fear itself. As it came closer, the twins cried out. Daniel stood up quickly, placing himself between them and the shadow. His heart pounded in his chest. He had never fought anything like this before. He did not know if he could stop it. But he refused to let anything hurt these children. He raised his voice. "Hey, leave them alone." The shadow froze. The humming sound stopped. The entire chamber held its breath. Even the Empress felt something shift. The creature reacted to Daniel's anger. It curled backward like it did not expect resistance. It seemed confused, afraid, almost like a child caught doing something wrong. One scientist whispered, "Human emotional fields. They are destabilizing the creature." Another added, "It feeds on fear, but weakens when someone shows protection." Daniel didn't understand their words. He only understood that the twins needed him. He stepped forward again, a brave move. The shadow twisted away from him. Its shape flickered, trembling. As if his presence was burning it, Daniel spoke again, louder this time. "You cannot scare them anymore. You hear me?" "They're not alone." The twins peeked from behind him, their small hands holding his shirt, their eyes wide with awe. No one had ever stood up for them like this. The Empress slowly approached, amazement in her voice. "Human, how are you doing this?" Daniel shook his head. "I'm just being a dad," he whispered. "That's all." The shadow let out a low, hollow noise. It was not a scream. It was more like a warning, a promise that it would return. Then it stretched thin like smoke being pulled by an unseen wind, and vanished into the cracks of the ceiling. Leaving the chamber cold and quiet once more, the twins collapsed against Daniel, shaking but alive, breathing but frightened. Daniel held them gently. "You did good," he whispered. "You were brave." The Empress looked at them. Her daughter's in the arms of a human janitor. Her daughter's safe because of someone she once thought weak. Her voice was softer now, more human. "Daniel," she said, "you may be the only one who can save them." Daniel looked down at the twins, their eyes full of trust. Their small hands gripping his, he nodded. "I'll stay with them," he said. "I won't let anything hurt them." And for the first time in many nights, the princesses believed they might finally sleep. The royal chamber remained cold and still. But inside Daniel's heart, something strong had awakened. He had never fought a monster before, never stood in a place filled with alien soldiers, scientists, and a powerful empress. But the twins were trembling behind him, holding on to his clothes, and that alone gave him courage. He was a father, and fathers protect children. Even in the middle of space, the Empress stepped closer, her tall figure casting a long shadow across the crystal floor. Her voice was quieter now, almost unsure, human. "This creature grows stronger every night. If it is not stopped soon, my daughters will not survive." Daniel felt a heavy weight settle on his shoulders. He looked down at the twins, their violet skin glowing faintly with fear. He could not walk away. He would not walk away. He spoke softly. "I'll do whatever I can." The scientists began adjusting their glowing devices, scanning the room for signs of the creature. Blue lights danced across the air, showing invisible waves of psychic energy. One scientist turned to the Empress and said, "Your Majesty, the creature is connected to the princesses' minds. It enters when they begin to fall asleep." Daniel understood immediately. "That means it will come back soon." The scientist nodded nervously. "Yes, and it will be stronger." The Empress looked at Daniel, her eyes sharp and full of worry. "What do you need?" she asked. Daniel thought for a moment. He had no weapons, no armor, no alien technology. He had only his voice, his stories, and the gentle strength of a father. He sat down on the floor again, pulling the twins close. "First, they need to feel safe," he said. "Fear is the creature's food." The twins leaned against him, one on each side. He felt their tiny hands trembling. He whispered, "You're not alone. You're safe with me." The chamber lights dimmed a little, preparing for another energy event. Guards stood ready, forming a protective circle. The Empress watched closely, unsure if her empire or this human man would win tonight's battle. Daniel began telling a story, a simple human bedtime story about a small girl who found courage in the dark. His voice was warm, soft, steady. The twins listened, breathing slowly, their fear fading with each word. The shadow in the ceiling wavered, as if weakened by the calm, but then, suddenly, the temperature dropped again. Fog seeped out from the walls, covering the floor like cold smoke. A deep rumbling sound echoed through the chamber. The guards pointed their weapons at the ceiling. "It's coming," one warned. The Empress took a step forward, her armor glowing with power. "Prepare yourselves," she ordered. The shadow appeared again, this time more solid, more alive. It was larger, darker, and swirling with angry movements. It stretched across the wall like a giant claw of darkness. The twins began to cry, holding Daniel tightly. Daniel wrapped his arms around them. "It's okay," he whispered. "I'm here." The creature let out a long, hollow hiss. It moved toward Daniel and the twins like a storm. Guards fired energy blasts, but the shadow slipped through them like liquid night. Nothing physical could hurt it. The scientists shouted, "It's feeding on the princess's fear again. It's getting stronger." Daniel stood up, holding both twins in his arms. His voice rose, loud and steady. "Stop!" The shadow froze mid-air, pulsing in confusion. Daniel stepped forward, slowly but boldly. "You don't scare me," he said firmly. "You don't control them anymore." The creature writhed like it was in pain. It moved back just a little. The scientists gasped. "It reacts to the human's defiance." "It is weakening." Daniel placed the twins behind him. He faced the creature alone. His fear was real, but his love for the children was stronger. "You want fear?" Daniel said, "You won't get it here." The shadow grew wider, stretching its long arms toward him. The Empress shouted, "Human! Move away." But Daniel didn't move. He held out his hand in front of him like a shield. "No," he said. "You're done hurting them." The creature slammed into him like a wave of cold wind. Daniel staggered back, but did not fall. The twins screamed. But the shadow seemed confused. It hissed loudly, shaking like it couldn't overpower him. The Empress stared in amazement. How is he resisting? She whispered. A scientist answered quickly. Human parental emotion. It is creating a psychic barrier. He is protecting them with his mind. Daniel felt pain, fear, and pressure in his head. The creature pushed harder, trying to get through. He tightened his fists. "I'm not afraid," he said through gritted teeth. The shadow flickered. It cracked like glass. A loud screech filled the room. The creature dissolved into a wave of dark mist, then vanished completely. Daniel fell to one knee. Exhausted and shaking, the twins rushed to him, wrapping their little arms around his neck. He hugged them back tightly. "It's over," he whispered. "You're safe." The Empress approached slowly, her face a mix of shock and respect. "Human," she said softly. "You protected my daughters when no one else could." Daniel looked up at her. "I just did what any parent would do," he said. The Empress studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded. "You may be the only hope they have." The twins held Daniel's hands, refusing to let go, their eyes finally calm. For the first time, they no longer feared the dark, not when a human father stood between them and the nightmare. The chamber was quiet after the battle, not the cold, frightening quiet from before, but a warm, soft silence, a silence that felt like the air was finally breathing again. Daniel stayed on one knee, breathing heavily. Sweat ran down his face, and his hands shook from the psychic pressure he had just fought. But he was alive. The twins were alive, and the nightmare creature was gone. The alien princesses clung to him tightly, their small arms around his neck. Their glowing hair brushed against his shoulders like warm starlight. They were safe because of him. A human father from a small planet far away from this massive alien empire. The Empress stepped closer, her long black armor gleaming under the dim lights. She looked at the man who had done something no warrior, no machine, no alien mind could do. "Daniel," she said softly. Her voice was no longer cold, no longer sharp. It carried something rare for a ruler of an empire. Respect. Daniel looked up, still catching his breath. "Yes, Your Majesty?" The Empress knelt down, something no one in the room had ever seen her do. Even the guards gasped quietly, and she placed a hand on the twins' heads. "You saved my daughters," she said. "You protected them with nothing but your heart." Daniel shook his head slowly. "I didn't do anything special," he said. "I only did what parents do," but the Empress knew better. "Do not underestimate yourself," she said. "You fought a creature born from fear. You stood between darkness and my children." The twins held Daniel tighter. "Don't go," the older princess whispered. "Stay with us," the younger added. Their voices were soft, tired and full of trust for them. Daniel was more than a helper. He was warmth. He was safety. He was the light in their nightmares. The Empress looked at her daughters, then at Daniel. A ruler who had commanded armies across galaxies now faced a simple truth. Her daughters loved this human. They needed him. She rose to her feet and spoke to the room. "Guards, scientists, everyone," she announced. "This human has saved the royal heirs. He is now under my personal protection." The guards bowed their heads, accepting the Empress's words without question. Daniel slowly stood up, carrying the twins who refused to let go. He felt the weight of their trust on his shoulders. He felt the warmth of their small hands gripping his shirt. He remembered his own daughter on Earth. He remembered how she held his hand the same way, soft, small, full of love. A sudden thought hit him. His daughter, back home, waiting for him. He frowned slightly. "Your Majesty," he said. "I need to ask something." The Empress turned toward him. "Yes?" Daniel hesitated. He did not want to sound ungrateful, but he had to say it. "My daughter is alone on Earth," he said quietly. "I came here to earn money for her, but I don't know if she's doing okay." The Empress's eyes softened further. A mother understood the heart of another parent instantly. "Would you allow me to send her help?" Daniel asked. "I just want her to be safe." The Empress nodded without hesitation. "You saved my children," she said. "I will protect yours." She turned to her advisor. "Send resources to the human child immediately. Medical support, education, guardians, everything she may need." Daniel felt his breath catch in his chest. He had never imagined an alien Empress would help his daughter. "Thank you," he whispered, but the Empress was not done. She stepped closer and placed a hand on his shoulder. "She will receive the best care in the galaxy," she said. "That is my promise." The twins finally loosened their grip and slid to the ground. Still holding one of Daniel's hands each, their eyes were sleepy. Their bodies relaxed, no shaking, no fear. The nightmare had truly ended. Daniel knelt again, brushing their glowing hair gently. "You can sleep now," he whispered. The older princess blinked slowly. We're not scared anymore," the younger nodded. "Yawning. Because you're here," she said. Daniel smiled softly. "I'll stay with you until you fall asleep." He sat on the edge of their floating crystal bed. The twins climbed beside him, curling up on each side like two small starlit kittens. He began telling another story. A peaceful one, a soft one. His voice was calm and warm. The Empress watched from a distance, her heart finally at peace. Her daughters, the future of her empire, were safe because of a human, a simple father with a gentle voice. Slowly, the twins' eyes closed. Their breathing slowed, their small hands relaxed. For the first time in many nights, they slept, really slept. Daniel looked at them with relief. He ran a hand through his hair, feeling exhaustion hit him like a wave. But it was a good kind of tired, the kind that comes after protecting someone you love. The Empress approached quietly. "You changed everything," she said. Daniel looked up, confused. "I did?" She nodded. "My daughters are safe. My empire has learned something new. And I—" She paused. "I have learned that humans have strengths we never understood." Daniel stood slowly and bowed his head. "Thank you for trusting me." The Empress shook her head. "No," she said. "Thank you for saving my children," as the chamber lights dimmed, and the princesses slept peacefully beside him. Daniel realized something powerful. He was no longer just a janitor, no longer just a worker in the lower decks. He was a protector, a guardian, a father, not only to his daughter, but to two alien princesses who now saw him as their greatest hero. Across the entire ship, in every corridor, in every station, the story began to spread, the tale of a human father who defeated a nightmare. Not with weapons, not with technology, but with love, courage, and a gentle voice. From that day forward, the galaxy would remember him as the human dad who saved the stars.